Hey, how's everybody doing? This is a channel that I have started called the Mandalorian. We'll be talking about everything Star Wars on here, new content, new films, new videos, everything. We'll be talking about video games, Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, in which you can follow me on my content name on there is also the Mandalorian. Battlefront 2, another game we'll be talking about. My content name on there is the_Mandalorian. And then also we'll be talking about the campaign mode in that game, and also the new game that was released this year, Jedi Fallen Order, through the course of this show. But first off, I'd like to talk about my theories for our first topic, which is we'll be talking about the Mandalorian. My theory for what's going to happen in season 2. Some things I'd like to see, some things that hopefully they don't throw in there just for kind of fan appreciation, try to surprise us. So firstly, what I'll do is I'll break down what I thought of season 1, and then I'll talk about what my theories are for season 2. So season 1, we're brought in with this new character called the Mandalorian, and he's a bounty hunter. He has his own ship, the Razor Crest, and he's kind of a lot like any other bounty hunter. He's given these bounty pucks or tracking fobs to try to find these new bounties to to make his way in the world. And he gets these bounty pucks from another main character, Grief Karga. And Grief Karga, he is happy with the Mandalorian because the Mandalorian always completes all of his bounty pucks and finishes the job correctly, does it right. And what he ends up doing is he asks for all the bounties. And Karga doesn't really like that because there's other members of the guild. So he's given his first major bounty trying to find this person. So he's given insight and intel to go talk to this client. And the client basically asks him to find this person that's 50 years old. So he uses the tracking fob and goes to this planet, and he runs into this Ugnaught named Quill that we find out later in the series. And Quill helps him to go to the sanctuary where this character is. And this is where the Mandalorian runs into IG-88 or IG-11, excuse me. And he doesn't trust him. So when they finally destroy and kill all the people at the sanctuary, he ends up finding this baby, a baby Yoda. And I was surprised by it. I mean, at first I thought it was going to be like a main character from episode 6 when they said 50 years old. So really, I mean, I think it caught everybody off guard, and that's what was great about it. And then he ends up frying IG-11. So then later in the series, we find that the Mando brings baby Yoda back to the client, and he ends up asking him, what's going to happen to him. So what happens is the Mando, he doesn't feel morally right about what he did. So he goes back and takes baby Yoda and gets off world, and all of his Mandalorians help him. Now, I thought that was pretty cool. It kind of goes back to the Clone Wars TV series where we have all the Mandalorians fighting on Mandalore. And then he kind of escapes. And that's where our next character comes in, Cara Dune, on this planet, and they're basically helping this group of people trying to protect their land and stay safe. And that's what the middle episodes of The Mandalorian I thought were kind of fillers. So episodes 3 through 6, I would say, were kind of filler episodes. They were good, don't get me wrong, but they were kind of filler episodes. And I think that episodes 1, 2, 7, and 8 were the best parts of the series. But yeah, at the end we see that the Mando, Grief Karga, Cara Dune, and eventually IG-11 are all stuck, and they're battling off all these stormtroopers and death troopers and Moff Gideon. So what I think is going to happen in season 2, that we see at the end, that Moff Gideon has the dark saber. Now, for those of you that don't know what the dark saber is, the dark saber is a lightsaber that was created by Ter Vizsla. Ter Vizsla was the first Mandalorian Jedi. So he wanted to create something that was different from all other lightsabers. That's why it has more of a actual sword blade style to it. And it's the only black crystal that we know. So the point of this saber was to unite all of Mandalore together. Because when Ter Vizsla died, the Jedi kept it in their temple, and Mandalorians came and raided the temple eventually and took the saber away. So from that point, it basically united all of Mandalore together, all the clans. And what happens is we find in the Clone Wars series that it's with Pre Vizsla, and he's the leader of Clan Vizsla in the Clone Wars TV series. He ends up having the darksaber taken from him from Darth Maul. Darth Maul kills him, Pre Vizsla, in a one-on-one fight. Next, the saber is lost. The last time we see it in the Clone Wars series, from what we know, is when Darth Sidious fights Darth Maul and Savage Opress. Sidious kills Savage, which is Maul's brother, and Darth Sidious basically toys with Maul and defeats him. Afterwards, we see the darksaber in the Rebels series, and that's when Sabine Wren is taught how to use it and fight with it from Kanan, Jarrus, and Ezra Bridger. And then Sabine doesn't think that she can lead all of Mandalore, so she actually gives it to Bo-Katan. Bo-Katan Kryze, I believe her name is. So from there, we don't see the darksaber again until the last episode of The Mandalorian. So what I'm thinking is during the Night of 1,000 Tears that Moff Gideon was talking about, I believe that Moff Gideon kills Bo-Katan. Now, we might see that in season 7 of the Clone Wars. We might not. They have talked about how season 7 will be, there might be some episodes after Revenge of the Sith. So we could possibly see that, but I doubt it. We could have a flashback in season 2 of how he gets it. But I think that that Din Djarin, who is the Mandalore, he is going to end up fighting Moff Gideon at some point during this series and becoming the new leader of all the Mandalorian. From there, what I could see happening is Din Djarin's leader, she actually told the Mando that they're a clan of two. That's what his signet on his shoulder is from the Mudhorn fight. Because Baby Yoda used the Force to hold him back, and then he eventually went on and stabbed him and killed the Mudhorn. So she then went on to tell Din Djarin that he has to try to bring Baby Yoda back to his people. So what I'm thinking is that if he doesn't bring him back to his people, he has to train him in the ways of the Mandalore. So I think that in this next season, we're going to see Din Djarin go on a quest to try to find his people and maybe teach him some ways of the Mandalorian people on the way, because it's not a race, it's a creed. So he's going to teach him some ways of the Mandalore, and I think Baby Yoda is also going to use some more Force abilities along the way as well. We're going to see some cooler Force abilities, some old ones from the last season as well. But I also think that at the end of this season, we might see, not at the end of the season, but at the end of the series, we could see like a huge battle where Din Djarin sacrifices himself maybe to save Baby Yoda, and then Baby Yoda becomes the second Mandalorian Jedi, and he takes on the Darksaber. I think that would be really cool, because besides Anakin, Yoda's the most powerful Jedi ever. And the only other species we know of Baby Yoda's kind is him, Yoda, and then Yaddle. Yaddle was on the Jedi High Council in Phantom Menace, and then we don't know what happened to her afterwards. But from what we've seen so far, I mean, there's only 3 of them. From what we've seen, though, is that they're all very Force sensitive, very powerful. But the big thing is, I think it would change up Star Wars if you had an actual character like Baby Yoda who is very Force sensitive, and then have him being influenced by a Mandalorian to merge together, basically, and create peace between the two, you could say, creeds, I guess, because the Jedi kind of is a creed. You have to follow, no attachments. But yeah, I mean, I think that would be one route to take. So that's what I've got for this first episode. For those of you watching, thanks for tuning into the first episode. Click that subscribe button, click that like button. Tune in tomorrow for the next episode. Thanks, guys.